Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Saturday to you guys. So my name is Sarah. I'm here with Beadalon for our Michael's class today. And everybody, Meredith Roddy is in the chat to answer any questions that you guys have. She will be moderating today. So you've got both of us. Today's class is an earrings project. We're actually going to be using memory wire to create some earrings, which makes a really lightweight pair of earrings that I feel like are perfect for the summer, because I know when the weather gets hot, it gets sticky outside. A lot of times I don't want to wear really heavy jewelry. It just kind of adds to the heat. So this is a lightweight, really fun pair of earrings. It's going to have you in a beachy kind of mood. Even if you are far away from the sand, you are still going to be able to enjoy this really fun pair of earrings. And you can change this up. You don't have to do the exact same beads that I use. You can change the colors up if you want to. And of course, you can change the charms as well. But ours for today is blue, which I think is a wonderful kind of nod at the sunny skies that we have today, because we've had rain where I am for the past little bit. So it's nice to see some sunshine and some blue skies. Let's see, anything else? Yes, before we get started, I do want to mention that in the materials list for this class, the memory wire that I am using is no longer available. You can, however, substitute for just regular bracelet size memory wire. Meredith has all the information for that. And if you don't want to grab that at Michael's, you can get that obviously at beadalon.com. So it will just change your project just slightly. It'll just make the earring a little bit bigger, but it's still going to work exactly the same way. So there is absolutely no worries there whatsoever. All right, so let's get down to it and let's talk about what materials we need to create this project, and let's get started with it. So just to give you a quick little shot of what we are making, we are making these really cool earrings, and you can see they are made out of a memory wire base. And that gives us a really nice component. We don't have to pre-shape our wire. We've already got a great circle or hoop shape to use. We're just going to need a few extra little findings. We just need some jump rings. I'm using my Beadalon Findings Variety Pack for that. I love these little variety packs. You can grab these at Michael's or at michaels.com. They have all of the findings that you need. There's plenty of clasps and jump rings. It's really handy. You can just kind of toss these in your bag. So love those. As far as the beads, we are using some of these really cool blue Rondelle beads that have that really cool kind of metallic flash of rainbow color to them. I thought they were really pretty. They are also very lightweight, which keeps this earring design overall very, very lightweight. We have some little charms. Michael's has a huge selection of charms, so you don't even have to use sea themed charms if you don't want to. You could use literally anything with these earrings, but to keep them beach themed and kind of summertime related, we're going with these really cool shells. And then I'm kind of obsessed with these right now, I gotta tell you. So at Michael's, there are a lot of these little cool things that are what I like to call like my helpers for instant gratification jewelry. That's definitely what these are. So these are just the tops for your earring. It's just an earring post, right? But it's on this decorative front, and it comes with a jump ring on it. So you can literally hang anything that you want to create your earring, and you get a variety of different colors. There were some of these kind of blue and white that went really well with our earrings. So those are the ones that we're going to be using. But if you are looking to make more than one pair of something, you can make 4 complete pairs of earrings out of just one card. So it's cost effective as well, particularly if you're selling your jewelry. I love these little creations that are available because you can mix them and match them. And it really is instant gratification that is on trend and super cool. All right, you're going to need some Beadalon. This is nylon cord. It comes in a 3-pack. I'm using the white. This is a Beadalon item. And like I said, I'm using the white, but it comes in a couple of other different colors if you want to change that up. I thought that the white just looked really good with our earrings. So that's what we're going to be using. And then for your tools, you're just going to need your Memory wire cutting shears, guys. I cannot stress to you how important these are. You do not want to cut your memory wire with anything other than these. Because the memory wire is tempered steel, you will destroy your regular cutter tools. In fact, I can give you an example if you want to see, if you don't believe me. Look at how I have ruined the blades of this cutter. You can see those notches that are in there. That's from cutting memory wire. Do not use your good cutters to do that. Trust me, you will regret it. So make sure you're using your tools that are specific for cutting that tempered steel. And then you're going to need some pliers, of course, and your round nose pliers for making our loops on the end of our memory wire to hold those together. All right, so I think I've covered all of the materials, so let's go ahead and get started with our earrings. So the first thing you want to do is you just want to cut a complete circle from your memory wire. So the memory wire comes in these, it's kind of like a slinky, right? You can pull it out and there are several rings. You just want to cut a singular ring of this that is a complete ring, meaning that the two ends are going to meet each other. Okay, so you don't want them to overlap. And you don't want them to be too short. You want to make sure that you cut it so that it is a full circle when it is away from the rest of the memory wire. The first thing that you want to do, and I sometimes I forget to do this, so I have made this the very first step. I don't think this was originally the first step in the handout, but it's going to be our first step just so that we don't forget. We're going to take our round nose pliers, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a loop on one end. That's going to hold all of our goodies on our memory wire so that it doesn't slip off. And I have a tendency to forget that step and regret it later. So let's just go ahead and do that. So what you want to do is you just want to grab your round nose pliers, and you want to grab one end of your memory wire, and you just want to create a simple loop by rolling back towards the long portion of your memory wire. That's going to hold everything together. So now when we start adding our knots, when we start adding our beads, they're not going to slide off the end. However, don't go ahead and do a loop on this end because we won't be able to slide our beads on, but definitely want to go ahead and start with one loop on the end. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is we want to cut our Beadalon. We're going to need 2 pieces of Beadalon that are about 30 inches each. And it may vary a little bit if you're using the other size memory wire. You might need a little bit longer piece of your Beadalon, but I think 30 inches is probably going to be plenty. So you want 2 pieces of this cut. We're just going to start with one though. And what we want to do is we want to create a lark's head knot onto our memory wire. Now, what we want to do is we want to fold our memory wire in half, but we don't want to fold it so that it is even. Okay, we want to fold it so that one piece is about 4 inches long and the other end is our long working end. Okay, so don't fold it in the middle, fold it just like so. And we want to make a loop out of the fold. And then you want to take your loop and you want to kind of hook it onto your memory wire. And then you want to take your memory wire, you want to take your Beadalon and pull it through. I like to use my pliers for this because it just makes things easier. So just pull your ends through your loop. Okay. So that your short end is towards the top and your long end is your working thread. Okay, so my little short end is up here and my working thread is coming down towards me. And it's going to slide around on the memory wire. That's okay. Okay, until we get to where we need to be, it's going to slide around on you, and that's totally fine. Now, we don't need this short end for anything. In fact, we're going to cut that off later, but for now, we're just going to leave it, kind of hold it out of the way of our work. Now, that lark's head knot that we just completed, we're actually going to do what's called a lark's head sinnet, and that is just a row of lark's head knots. In order to do that, we only are going to use the one cord. So I don't know, you may have already seen this before, maybe not. I can't remember if we've done this in a project together before or not. For those of you who have never done this before, if you struggle with square knots, this is going to be an easier knot for you. I find that people who struggle with a square knot, they can accomplish this one really, really easily. So it happens in 2 steps, just like a square knot. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our cord, and we're using our memory wire as our component, right? So that's going to be our core. We want to take our Beadalon and make a P shape, right? So we're making like a little loop out here, but we're making sure that our Beadalon is going over the top of our component. Okay, so we're going this direction. Now we want to take the tail end of that Beadalon and we want to bring it up through that P shape that we just made. And we want to pull. That's step 1 for the knot. The next step is the exact same thing, but this time, instead of going over the top of the component, we're actually going behind the component. So make your same P shape. And this time we're going to take the tail of our Beadalon and go down through that P shape. Okay, and then pull. That is the 2 steps that it takes to create your lark's head knot. So now you've learned how to do a lark's head knot with 2 ends, which is how we started. Now you can do it with a single cord or single piece of Beadalon or whatever you happen to be using for knotting. Okay, so we're just going to repeat that. We're going to do about 14 of those before we add any more to our memory wire. So you're going to get to see that knot several times. In case you didn't get it the first time, we've got lots of practice here. So the next set is going to be our P shape with our cord coming across the top of the component, taking the tail end up through the P shape, and we're going to pull. Second step of that, our P shape with our cord going behind the component, and then we're taking our cord down through and pull. Okay, so now we have 3. We're just going to keep going. So it's just a lot of repetition here. So we're going over the top of our component and taking our cord up through. We're taking our cord behind the component and down through. Okay. We're just going to keep going. So over the top of the component and pull, behind the component and pull. Now I want to get you kind of close and show you here. I'm going to use my pliers to kind of point this out for you. So the way we're going to count our knots, and it might be kind of hard to see because the cord that we're using is white, but to keep count of your knots, you want to count that little bump that is in the top of the knot. So here is bump number 1. That was 2 steps, right? Bump number 2, bump number 3, number 4, number 5. So we have 5 knots already. So if you put this down and you walk away from it and you pick it back up and you can't remember how many knots you had made, you can just pick it up and you can count to see. And if you have stopped where you don't have a bump, so let me show you. So we're going to do the first step of another knot. So over the top of the component and then up through and pull. Now let's say you walk away from it and you go do something else and then you come back. You can see we're in the middle of that knot because our cord is coming up the top, right? It's coming out towards us. So we don't have a full bump yet. So we haven't done the second step of that knot. So you would pick it up, you would go behind the component this time, and then you would go down through that loop and pull, and you'll have your little bump, and that'll give you 6, right? All right, so we've got 6. We're going to do some more. So this one goes over the top and pull. And sometimes it's, you know, it's okay if your knot happens way out here, you just kind of slide it back up the component. In fact, I kind of like that. It's kind of gratifying to do it that way, particularly when you're working on a round component. You get a really good slide out of that. So if you like those little things in jewelry making, you'll appreciate that. So I can slide it right on up. There's 7. Okay, so going across the component, up through, and pull. We're going to go behind the component and then down through. And you'll notice that once I get going, my down through is kind of a fold over. Okay, and it's just kind of habit that I do it. So I kind of fold the loop over to grab the cord. And I don't want you to think that I'm doing anything, you know, out of the ordinary there. I'm still doing the same movement. It's just easier for me to kind of fold that loop over to grab the cord. So let me show you again what it looks like without doing it that way. Okay. So I don't want to confuse anybody. So we're coming across the top of the component to make our little P shape, right? And we're going to take the tail end of our beadalon and we're coming up through our loop. And pull. Okay, and slide that knot right on up. Now we're going behind the component to make our P shape and down through. So I'm actually using my non-dominant hand, my left hand, to take that cord and pull it through the loop. Okay, but for me, it's just a little bit easier just to do it all with one hand. If you're not ready for that, that's okay. Okay, don't feel like you need to do it that way. So here's our loop across the top. Our left hand comes in, bringing that cord up through. Okay, and pull. And then behind the component, and see how I kind of fold it over to grab it with my right hand and pull. All right, let's stop for just a second and count our knots. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me hold it up a little bit closer so you guys can see too, so that we can count together here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we need to do about 6 more knots and then we're going to be ready to add some beads to this. So over the top of the component and pull. Behind the component and pull. Over. And pull. Behind. And pull. Okay. Over. And pull. Behind and pull. Now I want to mention something as we're going here. I'm only using a single strand of this Beadalon, so it's making a very thin knot, right? Our knots are very, very small. If you like more of a chunky kind of look to your macrame, you can do the exact same steps, but use more than one piece of Beadalon. I'm sorry, not Beadalon, Beadalon. Sorry about that. So in other words, instead of one 30-inch piece, you could do like 2 or 3 and just have them together. Your steps are going to be exactly the same. You're going to treat it just like one singular cord. But if you've got 2 or 3 pieces of the Beadalon, it makes kind of a chunkier knot, which is a really cool look too. So you can alter the design just by doing that, and you don't have to make any major adjustments. All right, so let's count again. Let's see where we're at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's do one more. So over the top and pull. Behind and pull. Okay, so now when we kind of take a look at everything, we'll see where we're at. Okay, and you can see we are right about, we're a little over halfway, right? So we've got plenty of room right in here. So we've done more than half, but you don't, unless you want more beads. If you want more beads, then you might want to stop a few knots back, right? But I want to keep my beads down here towards the bottom. So we're going to come in now and we're going to trim off some of our Beadalon here. Now don't cut it all the way off just yet, okay? You just want to trim, leave yourself a little bit of that behind. And before we thread our knots on, let's go ahead and add some glue to this just so that it can be setting up while we're working. So I want to take some Hypo cement. I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but you're going to need some Hypo cement. I really love this stuff because it has a little precision tip on it. Makes it really easy to get right where I need it to be on these little tiny knots. So you can see it's making just a tiny little bead. That's all I need. I just need that little bead of glue, and I'm going to put that right around that last knot. And then I'm going to come back up here to our very first knot, and I'm going to add the same amount of glue to that very first knot as well. And just let that sit as we're working so that it will dry. It's not going to fully cure for about 12 hours, but it'll be at a tacky state when we get to the end so that we can go ahead and trim our ends off. Okay, so now we're ready to add some beads to this, and then we're going to do another sinnet of our macrame. So I'm going to cut off the end of my beads here. And let's see, we used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 beads in our original earring. So we want to do 9 beads here so that they match. I'm just going to go ahead and thread my beads onto the memory wire. So thread all of those on. And again, you don't have to use these exact beads. This will look cool with any beads. Okay. All right. Now we're ready to do some more of our lark's head knots. And we're going to do them over here on this side. And well, it's actually, this was the direction we were working, right? Now we're ready to work over here. The first thing I want to do though, before I get started, is I do want to go ahead and do another loop so that we don't lose our beads as we're going. So just come in with your round nose pliers again. You want to grab the tail end of that wire and you just want to roll back to create another closed loop. Okay. Mine are a little different in size, but at the end of the day, when the earring is complete, nobody's ever going to notice. Okay. So don't worry if they aren't exactly the same size loop. So we can always make this one a little bit smaller if we need to, and trim some of it off. Okay, so now we're ready to do the macrame again. Now, you can either start at the top and repeat just like we did, right? Just pretend like we're starting completely over again and come down this way. Or you can start at the beads and work your way this direction. It makes absolutely no difference. Absolutely no difference. To make it easy though, we're going to start at the top and come down just like we did here. So we're just going to repeat exactly what we did. So we've got another piece of our Beadalon. Okay, we're going to start out the same way. We're going to fold it so that we've got a short end that's about 3 or 4 inches long, and then our long end. We're going to fold that and make a loop. We're going to come over here and place that over the top of our memory wire and kind of fold that over. If I can hold on to it, we will. I'm going to fold that over, and I'm going to take my ends and pull those through the loop. Grab a pair of pliers if it's easier. Pull those ends. Okay. And pull right on up to your loop and you're ready to go. So our short end needs to be up here, and then our long end needs to be on the part coming down towards us. And we're just going to repeat. So we're just going to fill in this section, and I'm not really concerned with counting at this point. Okay, so all I want to do is fill up the space, because we've already kind of counted to make our measurement. So now it doesn't matter if it's not exactly 16 knots on this side. Just know nobody is ever going to come in and count the knots in your design. So you just want it to be as close as possible. Okay. But letting go of the counting is kind of freeing as far as I'm concerned. I'm not a numbers kind of person. So, all right, over the top to make our P shape, and then up through our loop and pull behind our component, and then down through and pull. Okay, so we're just going to keep going until we fill up the space here. So over the component, whoops. And pull. Behind the component and pull. Over. And pull. Under and pull. Okay. Over the top and pull, behind and pull. Macrame is just lots of repetition. There are several different kinds of macrame knots, and most of them are variations on the same knots. So for instance, whoops, I accidentally grabbed my bead in this one. For instance, this knot in particular is also referred to, if you only do one section of it, is considered a half hitch knot. And so you can do just one half hitch knot going in the same direction, meaning if you do this knot instead of doing both steps, but you do the knot with just a single step. So every single time you go over the top of the component, you're going to create a twist with your knots, which is a really cool look, and is, you know, a technique all on its own. But if you want them to lay nice and flat, you do like we're doing, and we alternate over the top and behind around the back, right? It's over and under. If it's always over, you're going to get a twist. So it's just little variations like that. If you're interested in knots, it is not a, excuse the pun, knotting is not super challenging once you learn the basic knots. And then from there, everything is really just kind of a variation on the basic knots. And the basic knots are your half hitch knots, your lark's head knots, and your square knots. Okay, so we're getting really close to our beads here, and you'll see I'm having this bead on the end. It wants to sneak up there and get into my knot as I'm going. So just be mindful of that. Go slow when you start to get towards your beads here, because they really do just kind of want to jump up into your knots as you're going. It doesn't make it more difficult. It can just be kind of a nuisance, if you will. They really want to be part of the knot. And I do find that going slower when you get into a smaller area helps as well. You want to be mindful that you're not overlapping your knots because you're working in such a small space. So make sure that every single knot gets its own space, and you're not creating a knot over a knot that you just made, which can be easy to do if you're not really paying attention. So the technique is still the same. We're just paying a little bit more attention here. Okay. So it looks like we've got room for maybe 2 more knots. And you can see it's a little bit more challenging. Get your fingers in there. Oh, I accidentally grabbed 2 beads this time. Just loosen up your knot and kind of pull those out. Tighten back up, and we've got room for 1 more knot. Okay. last step here. Whoops. Having trouble getting this last one. All right. Oh, grabbed a bunch of beads this time. Okay. So get back up here on the other side of the beads and pull. All right. So we filled up that space. It's pretty even. I would imagine if I counted, it would be pretty close. It might be off by maybe 1 or 2 knots, but for the most part, when you're just looking at it, it looks even. So we're going to come in again with our Hypo cement, and we're just going to use a little dab of this on the very first knot that we made on the front and the back. Okay, be sure you get both sides, and then the same down here on the last knot. Okay. All right. Now we're going to let that sit a little bit longer while we put together the rest of the earring. And then the very last thing we will do is trim off our tails. Okay. So I'm going to shorten that piece up just a little bit. Now let's take a look at the sample so that we can see where we're going with this. So you'll see that all of this is just kind of held together with a series of jump rings, right? Nothing super hard here. We've got the jump ring that is part of our earring post. So that one is already there. We don't have to worry about adding a jump ring to that. So now we're going to use 3 6mm jump rings and 1 little 4mm or 5mm to hang our charm from. Okay, so let's go ahead and get those together. I'm going to use 2 pairs of pliers. And I'm going to take 1 jump ring between 2 pairs of pliers, holding it so that the opening is away from me. And we're just going to walk that jump ring open. Don't pull them apart, just kind of that lateral twisting motion. And we are going to attach that to one of the loops on the top of our memory wire. And we're going to close that back. We're going to do the same thing with another one. Okay, and open. Close that back. Okay, now we're going to take another, our 6mm and our little 4mm here, or 5mm, whichever one you grab. You can use a 6mm here if you want to as well. We're going to open this one first, and we're going to attach our charm to it. And then we are going to go ahead and close that back. Now, when we open up this 6mm jump ring, this is the one that goes in the center. This one's got a little bit bigger job than all the rest of them. So we're going to open this one up. We are going to go ahead and thread our charm onto it. And then we want to thread on the loop from one side, or our jump ring on one side, our jump ring on the other side. And then before we close that, we're going to thread on the jump ring that's on the bottom of our post for our ear wire. And then we're going to close that back. Guys, that's it. The only thing we have left to do now is just trim off all of the tails, and our earring is complete. The only thing you would need to do at this point is just repeat the process so that you've got a mate for the earring that you have just created. So let's come in with our cutter tool, scissors, whatever you're going to use, and we're going to trim off our cord right at that knot. Now, after you trim it, if you feel like you need another little drop of glue, and a lot of times I feel like I do, so I will come in after I trim and add just another little drop of the glue to that where I've cut it off. The glue dries nice and clear, so you don't have to worry about it showing up. It's not going to create a white haze or cast on anything. So adding more glue is never a bad idea. So I'm just trimming all of these ends off. Adding some glue. Last one, just a little glue. I do want to wipe it off of the beads if I get a little carried away. Now I just want to let these dry. So I would sit these probably overnight and let them dry before I wear them out, just because I don't want that Hypo cement to get stuck in my hair. More than anything, I don't want it to get glued to anything else. I'm not necessarily worried
that my knots are going to come undone before the glue dries. I just don't want to accidentally get this stuck to anything. You guys remember that scene in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation where he's got tree sap all over his hands and he's looking through the magazine and the magazine pages are sticking to him? That's what Hypo cement and hair does. If you need a visual, that's totally the one, right? The Hypo cement on earrings, there is nothing worse than getting Hypo cement in your hair. Take my word for it. So don't want to do that. Don't want to wear these until they have completely set up and dried. But got a cute little pair of earrings. I'm going to turn you guys around. The one that is dry, I'm going to put it on and show you what it looks like. And then we will say our goodbyes until next time. So let me go ahead and turn you around. Okay. Hello again, my friends. All right. So I'm going to put this on so that you can see what these look like. Now, remember, if you don't have this size of the memory wire and you're going to use just regular bracelet memory wire, the earring is going to be just a little bit bigger. But still a lightweight, easy to wear earring for the summertime. It's not heavy. It's not going to pull on your ear at all. They're really, really cute. And they go with a lot of different things for summer, right? Your little spring dresses or your bathing suits, or whatever you're going to wear. These are great. Macrame is always in style and is really, really popular this year. It has come back in full force. So you are definitely on trend with your knotting techniques. And guys, I've got another great knotting project coming up. So the next time you see me, I'll have another fun macrame project for you guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed these earrings. I hope I've inspired you to use your memory wire for things other than bracelets, right? Makes great components. So I hope that you have enjoyed and you'll look at your memory wire a little bit differently. You guys have a wonderful rest of the weekend and I will see you guys again with another project very, very soon. Bye guys.